What's up, guys? Today I just want to make a quick video on my STX24, how it's set up, and show you guys a couple lines that I can run on my crawler track for it, and kind of give you my opinion on these DJ crawler tires. They're the 68mm pin tires. So to start off, I'm running a Muse Racing chassis. I don't know exactly like the part number or what it is, but obviously it's a Muse Racing chassis. I'm running the stock electronics, and then I'm using the Endura 50 turn motor, the red one. Up front, I'm running a Muse Racing servo. There weren't a whole lot of reviews out there on Amazon about this servo, and I figured I'd give it my shot and also kind of put my review on what I think about it. Haven't posted my Amazon review, but I will soon. Very good servo. I can't compare it to the NSD RC servo just because, I haven't had that servo, but for me, this is plenty powerful for what I need, and it's pretty darn fast. Then moving on to the back, I'm just running an Emax servo, nothing fancy for my four-wheel steer. It's pretty basic, not much going on right there. So then, talking about these tires, real quick, I'll just tell you, I've been pretty happy with these tires so far. They do not, I'd say they perform average for indoors as far as, like, on your, like, cloth and vinyl surfaces. They definitely don't do worse than any other tires, but I can't say, they performed outstanding. Compared to my Rc4wd Wranglers that I had on before here, these definitely, again, they're a lot taller. They provide a lot more ground clearance because of that. Some people say they don't like tall tires because of, the sidewall roll, but I haven't had a lot of problems with that. And also, some people complained about that the taller tires make it so you can't climb as steep. Well, honestly, I haven't noticed that much of a difference from these tires compared to my old ones as far as how steep the car can climb. But the foam that comes in these tires, they come with two foams, a stiff foam and a soft foam. The soft foam seems to be just right for my car. My car is about 360 grams, and it just performs really good. They're pretty supple, they grip really well, they don't allow a ton of sidewall roll. Overall, I'm pretty happy with the tires. Now, you may be wondering why I didn't go with Endura pin tires, because you can get ones that are a little bit smaller. So some people say, the smaller tires, again, you can climb steeper, and, some people just say the Enduras are better. Well, now the main reason I kind of went with these over the pin tires is because these have knobs on the sidewall, as you guys can see. The Endura pin tires have nothing except for, their wording printed on the side. To me, and there is no science behind this, I haven't done any testing, but to me, having knobs on the sidewall is going to be more grippy than just a smooth surface, especially for rocks and other things. It's just better than, the equivalent of a drag slick on your side. I feel like having all these knobs helps grip when you turn into rocks and stuff like that. So that's kind of why I went with these tires. Even though they're a little bit taller, I feel like I can get away with the tall tire in this just because of how low my car can sit with them. So I get the bonus, but I also maintain a low center of gravity. Anyhow, that's about it. Let's go outside and see how it performs. Okay, so for the first obstacle, nothing serious. None of these obstacles are extremely difficult, but these were what kind of pushed the limits before I put on these new tires and had kind of a stock chassis that was heavily modified. So let's go ahead and see how these new tires do compared to the old ones. And right away, just noticing that climb was not near as easy as it is now. The Rc4wd Wranglers just don't grip that quite as well, and it also bottom out because these tires are a lot taller, so it helps climb over these without bottoming out. I think it's also free, just compared to my friend. Okay, so now let's see if I can run this the other way. Which this isn't going to be much of a challenge. This is pretty lightweight. Yeah. Another thing to mention, just one thing that always was right off the bat, is getting up that little first elm log. Even though it's something so simple, the tires actually struggled to make it past that point. And this is the same wheelbase as it was. So it's kind of purely the tires that have changed that. They grip that bark a little bit more. Then, moving on to my next obstacle, right here, which is like a little wall climb. Here, I'll see if I can position the camera a little bit better. That ought to do. So, I'm gonna just climb this red brick right here, and I'll just say this was completely impossible with the Rc4wd Wranglers. I didn't have a shot at this just because they were a lot shorter, and honestly, it licked the grip too to do it. But I think if I wiggle that back and forth, boom, look at that. Grips really nice and easy. That edge is extremely rough, which these pin tires just love. And then here's another obstacle. It's more of a technical obstacle. It's not an extreme challenge. So it's not like, it's just more of where you place the tires and trying to keep an ideal path. And what I want to try and do is I just want to try and come right up through here and keep the tires on these two rocks. This was pretty difficult to do, trying to stay on track with the Wrangler tires, so I'll just have to see how these do. I'd imagine they'll do pretty well on this rock, although it can be kind of slick because it's like a limestone. As you see, it's getting hung up on the chassis kind of right behind that front tire, but these tires just pull themselves right over that. That's actually pretty impressive. With the extra ground clearance given by these tall tires and the grippiness of them with those pins, honestly, it's a total game changer. And then moving on to my last obstacle, which is just around the corner, is right here. And I'll kind of show you guys what it's going to look like. But my goal is I want to come up right through here and then carry on. And I'll do it a couple times and see if I can kind of incorporate the rear steer a little bit. But let's make a good approach. You want to put these tires right in that V notch, just like that. And then, so I'm going to do this first run without rear steer, and you guys can kind of see how that front end dips down in there to get that rear up, and then you kind of have to steer back uphill for that. But now I'm going to drive it back around and show you guys how I can kind of change this line and make it a little more clean so it seems a little bit better and you're staying kind of straight on track. But here, I'll position the camera a little bit better. And what I'm going to do is standard approach, just come up, follow that support in the middle of that cylinder brick. And then right as you get here, normally that's when your rear kind of shifts over to dig that one passenger side rear in. But if I steer into it like that, now I can just continue straight and actually kind of turn like that. And as you can see, that brought the rear up, kind of staying in place. And then there we go. There's a finished crawl, nice and straight along the path. But that's about it. Just want to show a couple lines, and it's pretty impressive. These new tires are definitely a lot. Just before the video ends, I just want to give some quick words of advice as far as if you guys plan to get one of these or looking to get one of these. And the main advice I want to give to you, especially if you're wanting to do a budget build, is know where you want your car to go. When I first got this, I didn't have any clue. I mean, I got the car because I thought it was cool, obviously, and then I wanted to do better, and then I kept on wanting to do better, and then better, and then better. And I think by the end of it, I had, spent $120 on the deadbolt, and then between all these upgrades and parts, I think I've probably spent well over $300 on this entire ordeal, which is pretty ridiculous for something this size, especially if you're trying to do this kind of budgetly. But one of the things, again, if you know where you're going, you can save a ton of money. As far as if you know that you're gonna get, this chassis already, or you're gonna do a buggy build, you could go as far as not even buying a complete car, just buying the parts, just buying the rear axles, buying the front axles, buying your brass weights, buying all that, and then assembling the car, not, adding piece by piece. Now, there is a disadvantage to that because I feel like you lose a little bit of learning experience on how to kind of engineer things, work around problems, but also just kind of learn about the car. There's definitely some things you kind of learn about adding weights and taking away weights and putting weights in different areas, trying different tires, and just it can be as simple as shock location. It can be that simple. Stuff like that. It's just, it is a learning curve. So if you're familiar with the RC hobby, or you're thinking about getting one of these and you have like a 1/10 scale crawler, just kind of think about where you want to go. Another thing that really helps is you can get on Facebook groups that are dedicated just to SCX24s, and the people there will give you plenty of advice. You can say, hey, can I see, what your guys' rigs look like? And then you can even, if they post a picture and you like that one, you think you want to make one like it, you could ask them, say, hey, could you give me a build list of all the parts that I would need, and how well does it perform? And, if you find somebody who has multiple SCX24 and rigs and you're wanting to find one that's really well performing, ask somebody, what's your best rig out of the ones you have? Because, there's people out there who have 10 of these things. So just keep that in mind. If you're looking to do this, it might be worth your while asking around, saying, hey, what works well, what doesn't work well, and just thinking about what you want to achieve by the time it's all said and done. Which, the funny thing is, sometimes it seems like there's never an end. Once I thought I was done, I found another part that I wanted. But it's just something to keep in mind. But that's all for today. See you guys another time.